So, hello and welcome to the last one of these lives that I'm going to be doing this year at least. It's now the 20th of December and obviously I'm guessing most people are getting ready for Christmas, or if you're not celebrating Christmas, people are getting ready for a bit of a break over the festive period. So today I'm going to be joined by someone slightly different. Those of you who've been watching these videos over these lives over the last few months will know that mostly I've been talking to Ukrainian teachers of English. Today I'm going to be talking to someone slightly different, someone recommended to me actually by a Ukrainian teacher of English, as Olena, who I'm going to be talking to, is one of her students. So I'm going to just let Olena join and we'll take it from there. Let me just see where she's asked to join. Oh, 1 second, sorry. Where are we? There we go. I hope. Let's see. Hey, Olena.
Hi, Hugh. Nice to see you.
How are you?
I'm a little bit nervous. Of course, it's my first public speaking, public conversation in English. So I hope I will feel calm a little bit later. And I'm very happy that we have the similar backs.
Well, surrounded by books. Yeah, I was just saying that I think this is the first time I've done an Instagram live with someone who isn't a teacher. And you were recommended to me by a teacher friend of mine. So, you know, I guess I think I posted something about your grandmother on Facebook and someone I know said, oh, I'm teaching her granddaughter. And so it kind of came up like this. So, yeah, thank you much for joining, and I know how scary it is to do these kinds of things in a foreign language. So, you know, you're very brave to be doing that. How's it at the moment?
Yes. Can you repeat?
How are things in Kiev at the moment?
At the moment, it's calm. It's no alert, thank God. So it's evening. It's 9 p.m. 7 p.m. My kids now at home with my husband, and I came into flat where my father was lived. So it's quite a nice place for our conversation.
You have a bit more quiet there, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So could you begin maybe by just telling everyone watching, and hello everyone out there, by the way, could you begin just by telling us a bit about yourself and your family and where you grew up?
My name Olena Zaretska. I am born and live in Kiev for all my life, and I'm an artist. Now I can also say that I'm an art curator, but I had a very thin experience. I had curate only exhibition of my grandparents. Because after my father died, I began to take care about my art legacy, about heritage of my grandparents.
And we'll talk a bit more about your grandparents in a bit, but is it on your father's side that Alla Horska was your grandmother?
Yes, Alla Horska. My father was a son of Alla Horska, and he was the one son. My grandparents had only one kid.
Okay. And was he also an artist of some kind, or did he do something different?
No, I really an artist, and you know, it's like I had no choice in my childhood. My parents put me in all art studios. I did it from very, yeah. And I had a small story that in my childhood I also got music lessons. I played on hautboy. Hautboy, I don't know, is it the right word?
I don't
And
like some kind of woodwind instrument.
Wood with metallic buttons.
Oh,
And it's a very it's an orchestra instrument.
yeah.
And when I was in high school, my music teacher asked me, maybe you want to have a music career in the future. It will be a nice choice. But I said, no, I'm from art family. It's only my way. That's only what I can to do.
And so it was kind of always in your family and always there for you, yeah?
Yes, that's right.
And when you were growing up, was your family a Ukrainian-speaking family or a Russian-speaking family?
It's an interesting and difficult for me question, because as you wrote in your article, in your post, my grandmother changed her language in not in Yav. She did it after 30 years, and after that, in books about Alla Horska, I read there is an Ukrainian language began to sound in our house. But then, after her death, I think my father, he was only 16 years old when it happened. He began to like a little bit hide from society because it was a little bit dangerous. And when he met my mother, they spoke Russian. And when I was born, I also speak Russian. And my first memories about Ukrainian language, I was 6 years old, and I was open the big event of memories of Alla Horska, and my mama put something with my hairs and told me special Ukrainian words, and I just repeat after her, and I even didn't understand all of that. But when I went to school, it was Ukrainian school, and after half a year, I spoke Ukrainian. Then my father, when Soviet Union broke, how to say, collapsed. My father, in one day, changed his language.
Then
he began to speak. He began to speak Ukrainian at home. So I had. I think it's a lot of people in Kiev had the same experience. It's like bilingual family.
yeah.
My father spoke Ukrainian. My mother sometimes with him spoke Ukrainian, sometimes Russian, and I also live with understanding that I have, with realizing that I have two languages in my life.
Yeah. And are you still speaking both languages?
I speak both languages, but in my own family, till the full scale invasion, I spoke Russian with my husband.
Yeah.
And now I speak in Ukrainian, and it's a little bit similar to my family in my childhood, because we have right now also two language speaking family.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's a very, very common situation in Ukraine. Yeah.
It's a common, and it's not comfortable, unfortunately, because I every time change it in my head, and my kids also a little bit misunderstood sometimes.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
My son is 7 years old, and my daughter 4 years old.
Okay. I also have two kids, by the way, so
Oh.
a little bit older. And when did you first start learning English, Olena?
You know, we have a joke. I learned English for all my life. So the first it was in school. In I think it's not from the first grade, like from third level, and it did nothing for me for my English. Then when I was in university, my family told me you need English. You need your English for your life, for your future. So I learned in American English Center, but I have a very nice native teacher from USA. I had a very nice Ukrainian teacher with grammar, but at that time it was like 15 years ago. I didn't have like and realizing for what. I didn't have a
Yeah.
job in English. I didn't have some trips in Europe or somewhere else. So my English level got low and low, and the first realizing that I really need it, it was when I had my son. In his childhood, he had an allergy on milk, and when we were somewhere abroad, I had to tell people around, please don't give me milk or something else. In that moment, I began to speak fluently, but it's, you know, it's a household level of English.
Yeah, but it's interesting what forces people to have to use languages sometimes. And I think,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a problem that when I was a kid at school learning French, French felt very distant for me. Like I couldn't imagine why I needed it, or what it was for, or you know what I was going to do with the language in the future. And I guess now for younger Ukrainians especially, English becomes much more important, and people can see that there's going to be more chance to travel, more chance to use the language. So, you know, it's good for language teachers. Um,
Agree with you. Agree.
we still have some more work to do. And so, when did you first become aware of kind of politics when you were growing up? What was there? What was your kind of family's relationship to politics, and when did you start developing a kind of awareness of politics?
You know, living in Ukraine, it's you always have to have some awareness in politics, because everything changed a lot, and government changed every time, and all how it called when we choose the president.
The election.
When election is begin, I see everywhere some post notice and news on TV. So it really can be out of this. But in my case, I was a little bit out, and it's like I try to live my pink glasses life, and of course, for me, for my waking up from this, it was maybe 2014. When I was a student, and it was no, even before 2004,
Yeah.
because it was the first
Like,
I have a little notes. Like consciously understanding that something changed around me. And the most politics awareness began on 2014.
yeah. I was going to ask you about your memories or your experiences from 2014. So maybe you could say more about what scene was like for you and what you remember from that year.
I remember a lot. I was on the time I was like freelance artist, and also I worked in yoga center like administrator in the beginning of the yoga center, and it was scary because all happened on your street, and people came to Maidan, to the center of Kiev, and it was it's different feelings because it was scary, and in this moment it was very fulfilled of pride. So I think all of Kiev citizens came there and took part of this. And a lot of my friends from other cities also came in Kiev. And when it was very scary, I went home and just watched on TV what happened. When it was the most bloody moments, of course, I want to hide from that somewhere in not so dangerous place. But of course, there was a lot of moments when you could give some help for people. For example, my older sister was like one of the main person who group the helps in one of the church, and me and my friends came there with food, with some dresses, or with my friends we went to other church where was like
People like hiding in the churches and going to the churches for protection.
Yeah, not for praying on that moment.
Not to pray.
So, and also one of the memories that everywhere was I don't know in English this word, barricade, barricades, barricades, and on that time, me and my friend had a studio. We rent a studio together in the center of Kiev, and when we went there, we need to something to go through these barricades, and you know. For 1 year, it's became like normal, little bit normal. It's barricades, okay.
Yeah. No, I can imagine. I mean, I have a lot of friends who were also on the Maidan at different periods, and I heard lots of stories, and I've seen the films about it, and yeah, very, very amazing time. And so, when the full-scale invasion happened last year, were you in Kiev on February?
No, and I can say that I was lucky because me and my kids didn't hear the bombs and missiles. I was in Carpathian Mountains with my husband and with kids because we months before it bought a trip to a ski camp, and we were there when everything began, and all chats of my friends, of my family, like was on fire, and like for 1 week we spent in Carpathians. Then my friend who lived for that moment in Portugal told me that she had an opportunity to invite some families from Ukraine to live in hotels. And we decided with my family that it can be a nice decision. In Carpathian Mountains, I was by car. So my husband went to Kiev, came back to Kiev. Me and my kids, and also kids of my sister, nephews came with me, and we all together went through all Europe to Portugal, and we stayed there for 1 year.
Yeah. And why did you decide to go back?
It was a decision because of kids. They very, very missed their father.
Yeah.
And all my friends and all my and also my husband told me that Kiev is under good defense. And we decided that trauma to live without father is more important than risk living Kiev. Of course, I can understand that it sounds very weird for abroad people, maybe, but it was this decision that I didn't miss. I don't miss it of that decision. I don't think that it was wrong.
Yeah, you don't regret it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you came back to Kiev this February, earlier this year, yeah?
No.
February or March?
This April I came back.
Okay. I guess since last year, the air defense is much better. And
yeah.
Yeah,
it also became like some kind of normal to hear alert a lot. Also today we had an alert, and kids was in the shelter, in the school shelter at this moment, and me not, unfortunately, because on that moment I took my son to music lesson also in the underground place, and I drank a coffee at that moment. And alert began, and I think, I will finish drink a coffee and then go to the shelter. And when I finished it, alert was also finished. So it's it's began like little bit normal for us, for Kiev citizens.
And how are your kids taking it? How do your kids manage?
They managed it good, like kids.
They're okay.
They, for example, you remember that on May it was everyday attacks on Kiev. It was very loud. It was very scary, and I just back from Portugal, and for first 2 weeks I slept nice at night. So I didn't wake up because of it. But time went by, and after 2 weeks I began to wake up at night, and it was very awful feelings. But kids still slept. They were sleep at night. So I think, oh my God, they had a good nervous.
Yeah.
And now, of course, when they're in school or in kindergarten, a teacher put them into the shelter, but they spoke about the war, but it's not. They don't speak about it a lot. They speak about their kids' interesting, about cartoons, about books, about flowers, about butterflies, and I, of course, happy about it.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask about whether you had friends or family or contacts in Russia before February 24th, and if you've kept contact with anybody that you used to know then.
I didn't have friends in Russia. I had some relatives, very far away relatives, like grandson of my grandmother, or something like that. And I, when it all began, when war began full scale, I didn't have power to speak with them. It
Yeah.
was I just can't. But for example, my mother and my sister, they called them or they wrote them and they asked them what are you thinking about like this, and they as I remember, they wrote something like we with you, don't think that it's about us. It's really not comfortable even to remember about this, because what we can talk about now.
Yeah. I think that's
with them, I mean.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, I have a friend from Belarus who moved to Poland, and she told me she's been there like 4 years now, and she became a Polish citizen. And she told me that before February 24th, she had quite a lot of Ukrainian friends in her city in Poland. And now she just, it's not that they argued or they disagree or anything. It's just that finding a way to talk has become very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And finding subjects that you can share have become very difficult. And
I understand it.
it's going to be like that for quite some time, I think. Yeah. I'm sorry to have to ask you about it.
It's normal.
Yeah, I mean, it's been very strange for me. I don't know if you know, but I spent a lot of time going to Russia before the war, and used to have a lot of friends there, and some people I've had big arguments with and just stopped being friends with. Lots of people I've just kind of lost touch with, and I think it's maybe from both of us that we just don't know what to say, don't know how to have conversations, don't know how to communicate anymore. And yeah, I understand all of that.
I want to add that about Russian language. It's different when I hear it in Ukraine. I know that it's Ukrainians speak Russian, and I feel okay. But when I hear Russian language abroad in Portugal, the first thought, maybe it's Russians, and what I have to do. Maybe I lived in Portugal in deep mountain areas, not in big city. So I didn't have some experience, some conversations, some meetings with Russians. But I thinking, if I meet someone, what I need to do, what I have to do, what I have to say, and again and again, I think I will just avoid that situation. I just maybe turn out and go away.
Yeah, it must be very, very difficult. And a lot of the Ukrainians I know who came to the UK have told me similar kinds of feelings and similar kind of, just try to avoid the situation, because you can't be sure what kind of conversation you're going to have.
Yeah. When I was in Portugal, I think my mission take care about my kids. It's only one that I have to do. So I don't need to speak and right now I have to take care, and it's all.
Yeah. Well, I guess it makes you focus on what's most. Yeah. So I guess we've waited half an hour and I haven't asked you about your grandparents yet. So maybe I'll let you talk a little bit about your grandparents, maybe your grandmother in particular, whatever you'd like to tell people. I'm not sure how many people watching know about Alla Horska or who she was or what she did. So
my big aim, my mission, it's to talk about Alla Horska, even in Ukraine, because even not all Ukrainians know about her and her art. Even Alla Horska is how it's to say, like activist. She had a very active position, political position, and sometimes people know about her in this way. But not all of them know that she also a great artist. And me and before me, my father want to tell about this part of her also. I'm sorry, my English is. And the main interesting about Alla Horska that she grew in Russian-speaking family. Her father was manager, a big manager in cinema, and even that interesting detail. When her family arrived in Kiev, she was 14 years old. She went into art school, and there was Ukrainian lessons. But her parents asked teachers, do not learn Ukrainian. To be, it can be more easy for her, you know. Please don't do that. And when she had to graduate school, to had a diploma, her friend, her Ukrainian-speaking friend, wrote the test for her. And she had a nice, I don't know, like all bells, no, not bells. She finished school nice and came into university, art university, and
her exam.
Exam, yeah. Yeah. And in university, she had community, and also she had her own meaning that she need more, something more than only realistic Soviet art school.
So yeah, am I in thinking that to begin with, she was basically working very much in that kind of Soviet realist, kind of glorifying the workers, kind of Soviet tradition, yeah?
Yeah, but you know, it's even sounds strange and weird. Soviet tradition. What tradition? From what? What begin? What is that Soviet tradition? It's no tradition really. And she was looking for what basic on, what her art, what her painting need in it. And she began to like dig, I don't know, dig inside Ukrainian art, in naive art, in national art, and found a lot what she can based on. And for her, it was love relationship with Ukraine identity, something like that. And after 30 years, she began to learn English, Ukrainian. She wrote a text of poets, of writers, and then now I can read her letters to her friend or to her family, and her language is very poetic. It's not similar. It's not my level of English, you know. So it's interesting detail for me. And when even 5 years ago or 10 years ago, when I read about this, it was just a story about something in the past. But now it's again began to be vital for us.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of my friends began to write some text in Ukrainian, began to post in Instagram in Ukrainian. A lot of people changed for last 2 years. And Alla Horska experience, her example, also powerful for us now. So I need me, and thank you very much that you also talk about her, because it's really a very nice example that can support us today, not in the past.
I think for me, probably like for lots of people from former occupied Soviet countries, I think the way that I experienced the post-Soviet world was originally through a kind of Russian lens or a Russian filter. And I think my whole early experience of traveling in the kind of, I was always really interested in the kind of post-Soviet world. And I think it took me a long time to realize that I was looking at everything through a kind of, the Russian lens was like the default. You know, it's like when you get a computer and it comes with a language setting or something, it was like the way of looking at everything was through the Russian way of looking.
You was not alone. All of Ukrainians did the same.
Kazakhs have told me this, and I think it took me a long time to realize that I wasn't thinking about or listening to all of the voices from the other countries around the edge of Russia, and that actually you learn probably more about Russia and Russian history and by understanding what the countries around Russia experienced and looking more at their culture and their literature and their stories and their histories and their paintings. And so I guess for me, the last 2 years have also been about this and have been about trying to understand that a little bit more. And that's what brought me to your grandmother's paintings. And that's how I found out about it, just trying to learn a bit more about that kind of thing. And also from watching Ukrainians on social media kind of reclaiming writers and reclaiming artists and looking at the arguments and, you know, lots of kind of Russian nationalists saying, oh, they're not a Ukrainian writer, they lived in Moscow, you know. And it's like, well, you've claimed them, now we're claiming them back. And so I think that process of kind of reclaiming art and reclaiming literature and kind of saying this is actually ours is really important, especially now because Russia is still stealing Ukrainian culture, destroying Ukrainian culture. I know that when Kherson was occupied, they looted all the museums, they took all the paintings, they took all of the Scythian gold. And there's obviously a kind of systematic attempt to destroy culture and cultural memory and to kind of make people forget that Ukrainian identity, you know.
Unfortunately, on life way of my grandmother of Alla Horska, she saw the same things because a lot of Ukrainian artists, writers, was killed in 20s.
Yeah.
So
the Renaissance.
We could have a big and very powerful culture, but it was all killed. And Alla Horska was in the head of new wave to grow up this national art, national identity, Ukrainian identity. And in 60s it was like a fresh air we can say about it. We can paint, we can based on native art on Ukrainian art, but you saw what happened. When they do that, Alla Horska and her colleagues and her community, they was cancelled from government, not government, like union of artists, union of writers, and they couldn't stop her in this way to cancel from these unions. So they found another way to stop her. And again, after that, Ukrainian identity stopped to grow.
Yeah. Could you maybe say a little bit, I'm sorry to ask, because I know it must be a difficult thing to talk about, but could you say a little bit about what happened to her in the end?
Just today I was on a meeting with gallery with whom we will make will manage a big exhibition of Alla Horska in spring, and they also asked me, like you, and interesting detail that I thought that my father always can speak about it a lot because he wrote books and articles about this. But today, this gallerist told me that when he asked my father, he felt stressed on this moment.
Yeah.
So me not like this, because you know, I never saw Alla Horska.
Yeah.
She was killed before my birthday.
Yeah.
So sometimes I can like switch on me like granddaughter to just someone who knows about her. So it's very detailed. I know a lot of details of her last days, and it's absolutely weird situation because of she went to her father-in-law, and she didn't answer for 2 days. Her husband, my grandfather, began to find her. It's no smartphone, so he couldn't call her. He went in this small city near the Kiev. He didn't find her, but he began to feel something inside. Something happened. He realized it there, and interesting and awful that his father also missed. And when Alla Horska friends came into this place with policemen,
Yeah.
They found her body, and she was murdered. And in a few days, policemen found body of her father-in-law. And can you imagine for family how it seemed? I can imagine what I can't, of course, I can't imagine what my grandfather felt. His wife was killed, his father was killed, and he, my grandfather, I wrote.
You've done your homework.
Yeah.
Good student.
He was accused of murder, and he and his small son, 16 years old, was invited in policeman department and was accused there. And I can't imagine what they feel. Of course, it's a big tragedy for family, for son, for if we can talk only about family in this in that moment. And the official version about murder, that father-in-law killed Alla Horska, and after that killed himself. So for my grandfather, it sounds like something unbelievable, something terrible. And it was the official version for 20-30 years. And only all around know that it was KGB. That was not family killing. But I remember how my father talked about this on some events. He was like historical man. He didn't color it in his emotion. He just said one version that my grandfather killed my mother. Second version, not official, that KGB killed her. Both of this version for family, absolutely terrible, sounded absolutely terrible. So I think I can't tell you more details about her last days, because this all can describe the terrible moments of their life.
Yeah. And you said your dad was 16 when she died, yeah?
16, yeah.
It's really young, yeah. I don't know how you manage the anger or the the emotions that must come from this. It must have been very difficult for your dad to carry this with him.
I think it's of course changed all his life, and made different sense of that, or this communication. And you know, he was not very person who speak with all a lot, not communicate a lot. And when I asked him about some details of family, he always said to me, Olenочка, I wrote everything in my book, please read it. So I you know, before this year, I thought that he was just not close father, not close to me. But now I understand that it was big trauma for him, and he even couldn't speak with his daughter about it.
Yeah, I think there are lots of things that are very difficult for people to talk about that they've experienced. And I've told this story before during the lives, but one of my dad grew up in London during the Second World War, and his uncles was injured in the war, and home from the war, he basically sat in his house for 14 years, hardly talked to anybody. Go and buy him beer from the corner shop or from the pub and bring him beer. And he never talked. He basically not just didn't talk about the war, but he basically didn't talk, you know. Inside him kind of stopped, and he just couldn't work out ways of communicating after what he'd been through in the war. So I kind of grew up with that understanding that some things that happen to people change them in deep ways and big ways, and that, you know, some people just reach a point where they can't communicate what they feel or what they've been through, and maybe writing it down is one way just to
it's a way to feel more calm about it, maybe.
Yeah. And when did you lose your dad, Lena?
When
did you lose your father?
In 2018 he died, and he was not very old. He was only 65. But unfortunately, I don't know, maybe it's like family tradition, because his father also died in the same age. But no, it's not family tradition.
But yeah, maybe genetic or something. Yeah. And so now you have a kind of foundation dedicated to the work and the memory of your grandmother. Is that right?
Yeah, my grandmother and grandfather, because they were artist family, and they worked a lot together. They had together works. It's about mosaics, monumentalistic art, because it's rare to when one person can do this big piece of art. So and after Alla Horska death, Viktor Zaretsky, her husband, did a lot of art. He changed his style in different way, and his heritage very huge. And for example, art books or big albums about his art printed for last 30 years. But about Alla Horska, not so much books. And one of my like goal, it's to publish or help to publish to other people information about her. And you know, it's like my.
But why do you think she's not as well known?
Because about her, we can talk about her before Ukrainian independence, and she was killed. She was very young when she was killed. She was 42 or 41. She just if she was alive, she could do a lot of art also. But her heritage, her legacy, less. But also we have it, and we have to speak about this. And in my bubble, information bubble, you know, I think everyone know about Alla Horska, everyone know what she painted, but unfortunately not. So when my father died, I began to manage these memories, manage together, and yes.
Yeah. And am I right in thinking that some of her work, like some of the mosaics, are now, or were, I don't know what's happened to them, they were in the occupied territories, so they were
Yeah.
in occupied Donetsk and occupied...
Yes, and a lot of your mosaics destroyed now, and you know, we can say, I mean, Ukrainian art community can say that we will fix it in the future, and we will take care about it. But right now, all of us, we don't know when it can be. And
Yeah.
We had a photo from last spring, then it was destroyed. It was destroyed a big part of this mosaic, but maybe now it's more destroyed. I don't know. We don't have photo of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I mean, I know Mariupol was bombed to pieces, basically. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, what are you doing now with the foundations? What does your work involve?
Um, I have a lot of ambitions, but less time. Unfortunately, I feel that I do nothing really. For last months, I started Instagram page, and I have a girl who helped me with copyright, with text, and it's I very lucky girl in this case, because this girl Olenka, she very deep insider of this topic. She knows about 60s and about art and about Ukrainian culture a lot, a very big, a huge part of information. Also, girl designer helps me with design. We have a plan to make offline events like lections, workshops, like presentation of something, and of course exhibition. And also I want to collaborate with some like Ukrainian brands we can based on Alla Horska and Viktor Zaretsky art, and talk about them also in this way. And of course, we have to publish books. We want to translate books in English and show their art abroad, of course.
Olena, let me know. If you need someone to proofread or to look at the English, just let me know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
A friend of mine, Tamara, was involved in translating a book about the kind of Ukrainian rave scene and about dance music in Ukraine. And she did the English translation, and I kind of checked through it all and everything. So I have experience of helping with these things. So
thank you. Thank you so much. It's a really very big help, and it's a vital topic for us, really.
Someone said, what about the website?
I try to manage it also. Unfortunately, I didn't answer one of my friends who helped me. Anya, if you hear me, I'm so sorry. I will write you in a few days about it. Of course, website we also need it.
So I have a more philosophical question for you, maybe, Olena, which is, what do you see as the role or the function of art during a time of war and during the time of the Russian invasion?
I have an answer. You know, I heard one like it was an article or it was a post on Instagram about our Ukrainian warriors, soldiers, that they need some reason to fight.
Yeah.
When they back in peace, not peace maybe, but in their own life, they will need some base for what they was fight.
Yeah.
Were fight, and I'm a person from art life. Yes, it's not about. It seemed not about war. It seemed something out of even someone can think it's out of politics. It's just art, but not. Of course, art is very compared to politics and to all situation. So we need grow and grow our culture for our defense person who need to understand to have this reason for what they fight.
Thank you. It's a really good answer.
Thank
And
you for this question.
How are you feeling about the coming year, about 2024? What's your feeling about what's happening, and what's the feeling in Kiev at the moment, and what's the general mood?
General mood not very nice, unfortunately. Just today I had a chat with my friends, my close friends, and all of them feel afraid, feel scared about future months. It's not something big future. And of course, it's for me, it's not a reason to froze in this moment. We have to do our last years showed us that our life is short. It can be finished at any time. So we have to use every day to do something. And of course, everyone can choose for themselves what to do for family, for example, for my own, or for my country, or for my culture, or for my heritage of my grandies. But we have to live every day.
Yeah, I think it's very important to remember. Yeah, I've just seen someone saying the war isn't going to end in 2024. It's very hard to know.
Yes, it's very hard, but it's our lives, and it's not a reason to stop it inner of us.
Yeah. No, I think it's really important that people carry on living their lives as best as they can and try to find, joy, and try to find hope, and try to feel that they're doing something useful, and try to contribute to, a better future in whatever way you can do things. And I think one thing, I say this every time I do a live, but one thing I've learned from the Ukrainians I know is everybody does, it's important for people to feel that they're doing what they can, even if you don't feel that you're doing much.
Yes,
if lots of people doing little becomes a big.
Yes, step by step, do less.
Yeah. So just to finish off, Olena, I wondered if there was anything else you wanted to share with anybody, or anything you wanted to say.
Oh, I think I said a lot, but thank you. I really feel comfortable and not so nervous such it was in begin.
Good.
I just want to say to all people that to congratulate with future holidays. We despite of everything that happened now, we have to live, we have to love, we have to take care about our friends, our families, and we have to believe in something good that can be with us and with our country, with Ukraine.
And I'm going to be coming to Lviv in February and hope to maybe come to Kiev sometime
Oh,
in the.
if you will come in Kiev, please call me.
I will do, and I hope to see you in Kiev. Hopefully after the victory, and keep in touch. And thank you so much for being brave enough to do a talk in English when I know you're a teacher and I know this isn't your main area. And congratulations on doing it so well.
Thank you so much, Hugh. Keep in touch with you. Thank you.
Take care, and Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава. Thank you.
Thank you.